Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Crosskeys match here on ZSR. I got Toffile and Amazing Ampharos to talk. We got TW and Poolfloat running. And we got Late Bit and Lady Laura Linda doing some tracking for us. I'm going to turn it over to the comms because I don't like to talk.
All right.
Hello, ZSR. I am glad to be back with you guys. First race I've gotten to commentate this season. And we should have an exciting one. This is an 0-1 race, so it's a big deal to win this in terms of your likelihood to make it far in the tournament. And these are both, I think, pretty strong runners who ran into a little tough luck round one, so they're both definitely looking for a bounce back tonight.
Yeah. How are you doing? How are you doing tonight, AA?
I'm doing pretty well, Toffile. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, no problem. Usually I like to... I like explaining things about the randomizer, especially entrance randomizer for Crosskeys. Unfortunately, I don't think I have to explain any of that to you. Because I think
you can explain things that if you're wrong, I can correct you. It's great.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So this is 0-1. Unfortunately, as Ampharos was saying, being 0-1 kind of puts you in a hole in this tournament. Our bracket stages, you have to have no more than 2 losses to qualify for brackets, I think, this year. So, obviously, it's not going to be the end of the world, but this basically means, you have to win, and the loser has to win out to even get a crack at brackets.
Yeah, the way it works out, to be clear, is...
And even
if you end at 6-2, then you get in the play-in race, where about a little more than half the people in the play-in race will make bracket. 7-1, 8-0, there will be one 8-0 most likely. Just make the bracket. 5-3 or worse. Well, we really thank you for your participation and hope you had fun.
Yeah. So really, not much to say. Just kind of waiting to get everything going. So what type of starts do you think you're going to see?
Well, there's really just 2 meta starts that I think most people have converged on. You sometimes see a few others, but it's usually either, are you a believer in the whole Link's House Houlihan room stuff, or do you just go to the Sanctuary?
Honestly, I tend to prefer going to Houlihan because I like just having that early extra cash sitting in my pocket, and usually I don't get giga punished by having well and say a Gina's Hut over at the Witch's Hut, and it helps you to knock out 2 of those entrances that are really, really hard to get to otherwise. And it looks like both of them are starting at Link's house. Now here's the catcher: 300 rupees. That actually might make me change my route a little, because
yeah, if I were a Link's House starter, which, full disclosure, I'm just not, I would actually probably take those 300 and just walk straight to CAC, hit up the bomb bushes on the way to get just 1.
Yeah. Because I think one of the major advantages is just getting those bombs for the early game and not having to worry about it, because you're going to find the shop in CAC. We just have the useless fairy at our uncle today. I know you tend to be one of the people who likes to blind drop the uncle drop, even if they haven't checked Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, I definitely am of that mindset. The way I look at it is, even if it's Ganon, it's not that big of a loss, because I'm a save warp away from Link's house anyway. And most other drops, it's a time savings to drop in directly. Even Uncle's a small time savings, and if it's something like the Thief, it's a huge time savings.
Although I think there are some people that say if you look at it and you don't have to go to the Thief. Ooh, well, that's a place for saying start.
That is what I would call the most strategically interesting Sanctuary location. Because, right now, it's mostly just a lot of bad options, but as the seed develops, that's going to really make the routing very open-ended in different ways if they choose to take advantage of it.
And you know what? Honestly, that's a free sword 2 minutes into the seed, so you'll take that.
And if we have what I would call the first, I'm just going to be straight about it, decision I don't think is very good being made by Poolfloat here, going straight over to the pod area, bunny walking.
Yeah.
You haven't been to CAC yet. For all you know, Chicken Hut just has the pearl free in it. And
Yeah.
even if all these entrances are nothing, you're still not really winning because you're orphaning the pod entrance.
Yeah, but nobody likes to go to the pod entrance anyway. So it looks like T-Dubs is... Oh boy. Well... our monkey house is the Spectacle Rock, and T-Dubs is heading for CAC. And
I'm actually really surprised Pool Float didn't take that, because I would think that would be one of the things you'd be wanting to find, right?
I do, but I also think he wants to check this entrance down here first, and then maybe try to get back to it. That is definitely a connector I would like to take in the Dark World.
Well, the Tree Man did not go very far.
No, Link could still find him and then go get lectured to about Palace of Darkness. Okay. T-Dubs had a bit of a double take there, as one always loves to do in Crosskeys, which is to immediately enter something, think it's junk, and leave, and then realize, oh wait, there's items in that cave.
Yeah, that would have been a... well, maybe it wouldn't have actually mattered too much here. You can probably live without that Ganon's Tower key, but...
Hey,
as a general rule, you probably don't want to leave behind 2 easy chests.
Yeah. And a full magic refill at that. Or this early on. And we don't have anything to cast magic, but...
Yeah, and I mean, TWW actually already did have magic, but often you would not.
Yeah. But, interestingly, that's...
Well, yeah, we're both converging on the CAC area. One of us in the correct world, the other...
and here, yeah. And this is the time that we appreciate the webcam.
Oh, yeah, just... I can't blame... Not everyone... The restream won't be able to see it, but that was a very frustrated reaction, finding what's arguably the best cave to find in the early game, except in the Dark World where you can't use it.
Yeah. Now, also, I should also say that it is actually very good that, Poolfloat has knowledge that he can get over to this side of the world. Oh, and here's the problem for... so Poolfloat has found Paradox Cave, and unfortunately for him, he's probably going to die if he goes upstairs and re-enters through the Light World, and if he goes downstairs and drops through the Dark World, he can't re-enter the cave without the mirror. So...
Yeah, that was... I mean, honestly, it's kind of the punishment you expect for this type of bunny walk. But here's another big sort of decision point while Poolfloat has been hugging Henoxes and such. TWW has chosen to go to Zelda's cell. Now, there's a bit of up and down to this. The up is, this is the most efficient path if you're going to full clear the seed anyway. The down is, this has some real probability of forcing a Ganon's Tower climb when you wouldn't have had to otherwise.
Yeah. Obviously, because in order to get to Zelda's cell right now, we need at least the Hyrule Castle small key. And there's no guarantee we all have the Hyrule Castle small key just yet. Poolfloat is heading for the lake. Has opted to put off CAC for a little while.
Yeah, with 300 rupees, this isn't too bad. I mean, especially because you've already seen a Paradox Cave entrance anyway, which is one of the entrances that would really hurt you not having bombs. So you just figure, what's the probability that I find a shop versus I find something like Chicken Hut or Agnes Cave?
Yeah, and Poolfloat has found the bag of desert and is going to promptly steal the key and run away. I don't really disagree with that this early on in the seed. I think you got plenty of times to evaluate that if you want to make that play later on.
Yeah, I mean, it's really... That's spending, 10 seconds to keep your options open for later?
Yeah. And obviously now we have T-Dubs is heading to try to check Dark Cross.
Yeah, definitely a much easier play with a sword. That is not the item you want to see. Honestly, see, here's one of the problems with making this play this early, this resource poor. It's not that easy to die here.
Yeah, and also, like, he did not, like, set up a... and he would have overridden a save scum with the little second save he did anyway. By the way, Smith's at Saha. That is probably one of the, I'd say, second grossest location for Smith's in Light World.
It can be good. It's almost like a bit of a reward to pool, assuming the mirror shows up before the myths, which usually it does.
You know what? You're absolutely correct, because I see what you're putting down. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because you've already orphaned the pod entrance, so now that lets that become a combo. And there's that Paradox Cave punish. That one's not that bad, though, because you wouldn't have been able to get in anyway.
Yeah. That one, you're happy that you know where it is. So, but it also means, to be fair, this also means that it could be very likely that we couldn't even get anything out of Paradox Cave to begin with, because the other end could have just been in the Dark World. Now, let's see where our... Okay.
I mean, it's convenient. You immediately make use of it. I wouldn't be upset.
That's K45 for, well, there's our first of our 2 freestanding Skull Small Keys in the Overworld over in T-Dub's side. Meanwhile, Pool Float actually found Skullwoods over in Pod area.
It's a vanilla well, always very favorable to the runners.
Yeah, now Pool Float's hitting for South Shore. Now this is where he's kind of losing me a little bit more. I don't think... Well, I guess he doesn't have bombs, but...
Yeah, see, I actually, compared to his bunny walk, which I really didn't like at all, I don't think this is that bad. Especially, I assume he's heading toward the desert. Oh, he's going this way. I know a lot of people like to check Mini Moldorm this way. I just don't think this is the fastest way to do that. But, like, just popping down and checking the way to Desert Fairy and Agana's Cave isn't really that bad, and that's a mirror, and that's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also...
wow, he's continuing.
Yeah, this is...
Does Pool Float believe he's just, like, an absurdly heavy underdog? Because his route is aggressive. He's just basically playing against the meta at every step, which you can get lucky doing this, but on average, you won't.
And meanwhile, T-Dubs has found we have a connector to the Old Lady side is the Elder side is the connector up to the Turtle Rock Bridge, which we already have the mirror for. So we're able to discover that Misery Mire has replaced Mimic Cave. And... Crabbed.
I had to reload because I was getting a bit of lag. Did we not actually see it was an Ice Rod Cave?
We saw the right one. I believe he got crabbed going into the before he could make it into the left one. I'm not sure why T-Dubs has... So T-Dubs found a connector over to the... and has checked the Spiral Cave entrance, but opted not to drop down.
You know, I don't think he's made a bad call. I mean, he's immediately rewarded by the last Paradox Cave entrance, but the thinking you would use is CAC is actually more dense, and you can go from CAC back there very quickly.
But
once you drop down, getting back to CAC's kind of slow, because our save and quits are honestly kind of garbage.
So... Anyway, Pool Float's heading for Hyrule now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with TWW here, saying, you know, today's not an early Eastern day. because I know there's a lot of community memes around early Eastern, you know, always do it, never do it. I think the best answer is it depends. And when you're staring down a Paradox Cave right in front of you, you just got a mirror. Maybe diving right into Eastern and CAC isn't, like, the best first priority.
Yeah. Look, but he cut down those the bush guy's bushes to get there. That has to count for something, right?
I mean, the man who's in that house by default, I think we can agree is all our spirit animal, where he just really doesn't want to mow his yard. And, I mean, who can blame him?
But by everyone's spirit animal, I mean by your Discord avatar that keeps lighting up every time you speak. But yes, I completely agree.
Yeah, I mean, if you actually talk to him in Entrance Randomizer, he says he didn't want to mow his yard, so he just moved all the entrances around instead. He hopes you don't mind.
Yeah. I believe that was our uncle at the Magic got dropped down. So...
Yeah, at this point we found most of the really high value drop downs. All the rest represent 1 to 0 items.
Yeah, or IOUs and the turns of the Mad Bad. Full Flood is getting sucked into Hyrule Castle, like expected. Is also probably going to go to the cell. We'll see if he opts to go for Dark Cross. Well, that's... You know, that would have been...
Okay, that's a... Pool Float's gonna really be sad about that Pearl just in the CAC shop. That's... Because, I mean, in fairness, usually the Pearl isn't that easy. That's a really heavy punish that Mirror and Pearl were just free in CAC.
Yeah, well, the good thing is, like, he'll be able to get kind of back to where everything he was a little earlier. Like, Paradox, the other end of Paradox is in CAC. If he wants to go over to pod area, he can go over to pod area, check the entrance of Mirror, and go into Paradox that way. Like, it's not, it's pretty bad, but it's not too bad. I don't think he's even done, no wait, he's got Blue Mail, so he's done Just Game and Check Castle. But, yeah. Really for him, right, I think there's got to be nothing sitting in, like, Ice Rod Cave, because that's, like, an area that he's just not going to get to for a while.
Yeah, you're not going back there until you have a glove. That's just how that's going to be.
Yeah.
Or if you can do the Dark World side and Mirror, maybe, if you get desperate. But you're not... Like, that is a last location to just walk back for that cave.
Yeah.
We are up to 3 GT keys already.
That's kind of scary. And we got the boots already, too. And a big key to Swamp Palace, which you're going to be seeing a lot more of in this tournament compared to years past, just because one of the flag settings differences that we have this year is 100% all locations reachable, as opposed to previous years where it's 100% inventory.
I'll say you'll be seeing somewhat more of it. I don't know that I'd say you'll be seeing a lot more of it, because the odds that it landed in the Skullwoods big chest were never what I'd call high to begin with. But yeah, Mirror plus Boots is a really nice combo, because basically all the Boots entrances are more efficient to check from the Dark World.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a little surprised that TWW is going west here instead of east to just check King's Tomb and Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah. This could be a oops, I forgot I had boots moment. Flood is going to go roll with the fact that he's just moved up a screen in Hyrule Castle, out of Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, just going straight to Village of Outcast, leaving the Boots entrances behind. Now, granted, this is a... Like, how often do you even have the opportunity to check that way? Oh, by the way, that's fully vanilla. That's not only a fortune teller in vanilla, but it's that fortune teller. You can tell because the it's a slightly different hood.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then I realized, wait, no, there's only one fortune teller in the Dark World in vanilla because there's no second shop over by the lake. There's only the actual shop.
Oh wait, I know why he routed this way. TWW did this because he's already checked everything else in CAC, but hadn't checked the CAC fortune teller. Planning to go up here, might be thinking about current jumping after doing North Dark World, though I guess that doesn't really lead to much, does it?
I mean, current jumping gets you one entrance, and you can run and mirror there anyway.
Or alternatively, he's just willing to get stuck in Skull Woods if that's what happens.
Yeah, I don't know that, but also, like, he ran by K45 and not K45 Graveyard Ledge and Kingstone, and I don't think he checked the Bach Rocks either.
Yeah, he has not done any bonk entrances yet.
Yeah, there's the Mirror for Full Float. Probably happy to find that.
I mean, it's a mixed feeling. It's an item you're like, I'm glad to have it, but I wish it weren't there.
Yeah. This will be is going to decide if he wants to take a look at this. Now, this is the connector that takes him over to the that would be taking him over to the bridge. So he wants to. That'll be some knowledge advantage for T-dubs. Oh, good. Well, we got powder before we found Magic Bad. GFE and Chad is asking about why you can only have boots after 2 hours in a race, and I believe the answer to that is you got your SMRPG remake.
Oh, no, boot seeds are so much better than boot seeds. Think about how much more your clever, intelligent routing is rewarded when you have to walk everywhere, and it's more punishing if you make the wrong choices.
And Full Flood is a little happy now, knowing that he can get everything in here and not get Giga punished for it, and he'll even get spat out somewhere in the Dark World where he probably will enjoy, and will have boots as well. So, honestly, kind of a little punished for this, but this kind of has worked out decently for him.
This is a very interesting way TWW is routed. I don't hate it.
Yeah, well, that's our Lost Woods Thief. And Pool Float.
This mini Moldorm is giving Pool Float the business.
Yeah. And we are being raided by Holologic. Welcome in, Holologic. As Pool Float is getting the first of his boots, 2 more GT keys to... You know, honestly, I'm kind of scared about GT Map Chest right now. Boots and 3 GT Smalls makes me paranoid.
Well, you can't get there without a hammer, so they're safe for now.
Yeah.
You know, this is a remarkable number of vanilla drop-downs. Like, you expect drop-downs to be the thing most likely to be vanilla, just mathematically, but even still, this is quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like I suspected in my gut after checking the drop down, or the drop down in the tree. TWW is taking the Fairy Ascent connector. Very natural with this mirror. It's extremely likely this leads somewhere helpful. I mean, honestly, even if it's Desert Right, he hasn't done the South yet.
I did not quite catch what was on Lumberjack Lit. Oh, good. It took us to Bomb Shop. Which isn't the worst thing in the world, I guess.
I remember I saw what it was, and I immediately forgot what it was after seeing it, which means it was a junk item. Which junk item, I couldn't tell you. I discard those from my brain remarkably quickly.
Yeah. That is... You know, that's not actually that bad of a connector. The Bomb Shock Bonk Rocks takes you over to the Hyrule Castle Lake... the Eastern Lake Ferry.
What are you doing, TWW? Check the Link's house, Bonk Rocks. You have a mirror.
Yeah, I'm happy he's checked one of them so far. Yeah, so here's actually something we haven't seen from either runner. They both went out the right side of Hyrule Castle, so here's the left side, and T-Dubs has found desert.
I actually think we had seen that left door. But Pool Float's gonna run into quite a brick wall here. He can make it to the pod area, but he's gonna have to fake Flipper and use the swim portal.
Yeah, well, Pool Float didn't check this entrance before. So... has found cave, Checkerboard Cave.
You know, this is a really small thing that doesn't cost you much time in the long run, but it's not really a great habit to pick up a heart container when you already have 6 hearts and blue mail. Because you're pretty safe, you know?
Meanwhile, Desert Palace East is utterly useless.
And I say that, I give that criticism to be perfectly clear. I could imagine myself doing the same thing, and then, like, 10 seconds after picking it up going, why did I pick up that heart container? I know I don't need that heart container.
Yeah. Anyway, Pool Float has opted to take the mirror and will actually be kind of weirdly converging here because he's going to go check the mirror on top of the... No, he's just going to go...
Yeah, like, this actually makes a lot of sense given what he's seen, because in his mind, his biggest advantage of his routing right now has to be his knowledge of how to get to the top of Bumper Cave.
Yeah.
And if that's a powerful mirror spot, that's great. And even if there's nothing there, he gets the sort of secondary upside of a very efficient place to route Northwest Darkworld from. So I don't hate him beelining this at all, especially because he's a sword or cape away from making the top of Castle a lot more efficient. You have a save and quit to get right there.
Yeah. Now, I believe the only thing up there was an entrance to desert. I missed which of the entrances that T-Dubs went through that was actually the entrance to desert we saw. But it looks like the third entrance is Bumper, one of the ledges there. Oh, good. We're never coming back for this. No one wants to see Spike Cave.
We all know Spike Cave never has value items in it, right?
Yeah, now I'm interested why he's coming up here.
Yeah, this is a touch curious. I thought for sure he was going to take the Spectacle Rock Connector again. Well, there's a lamp in a library. It's not a very good way to take care of your books.
I mean, it's getting him to the same spot. The only problem right now is Light World Bumper Cave is in a really bad spot for him.
Yeah, you just leaving behind our good friends, the Southwest Death Mountain Foothills Cave.
Naming things is hard.
I was the one who made that name. I'm allowed to joke about it. The rest of y'all need to cut me some slack, though.
I was watching somebody who's started to get into like entrance randomizer for the first time, and they were wondering what the hell that cave was, and they were looking on like Dark Death Mountain for it. I was like, no, that's Bumper Cave, or you know.
So I'm sorry to give anyone who didn't want them minor, but in a way major Tears of the Kingdom spoilers. So there is a cave on the southwestern part of Death Mountain called the Foothills Cave, and it warmed my heart.
Okay.
I like how you have no response to that.
I know you would. I don't want to give you... I actually don't hate the name, by the way. I'm not one of those people. Because all I can think about naming things in Star is I immediately think to Super Metroid Randomizer, where like 95% of the names are just something like Billy Mays or Indiana Jones or Mickey Mouse, and like you just have to know what region of the map they're in because you're not finding out otherwise.
Yeah, like when I was writing all the hint stuff, which the hints aren't on in this tournament regardless. But like one of my rules was community meme names are absolutely not going into the game because, like, if I said Hype Cave, how would you possibly know what I meant if you weren't, like, on the Discord talking to people, watching streams or whatever, right?
Yes.
Now, you could reason what the Southwest Death Mountain Foothills Cave was if you really thought about it, but you probably would have to stop and think about it.
Yeah. So, interestingly, Poolfloat did not... I don't think he's checked the Lumberjack itself and didn't mirror there. Hello, Hype Cave.
Yeah, speaking of which...
Let's see. Money...
This was approximately equal value, but less humor to the 5 Red Rupee Hype Cave we had last night.
I mean, this one got you a heart container and a half. That one just got you a fifth of the way to Zora. Or 2 bomb packs.
That one put a smile on the face of absolutely everyone in chat. Isn't that what really counts?
Yeah. Now, actually, interestingly here, this is going to be something that's going to come up as a point of divergence in a little while. So Poolfloat remembered that, hey, Graveyard Ledge was sitting up at the Dark Lumberjack hut. That was a Castle Tower small key. T-Dubs, on the other hand, like, never went up to that screen. So he's going to be only able to get one of the items out of here. There will be a second item in here that Poolfloat can get later. And God knows, maybe he can even climb. If this is vanilla.
I would find a climb here very unlikely, but it is definitely the case that the second item is... Like, TWW not coming back for that anytime soon. That's in a terrible location for one item that's slow even when you get to the entrance. So yeah, that's probably a near last location if that chest is value.
Okay, so that's just a red rupee over in the Lumberjack. Alright, so we've kind of found most of our valuable items today. Actually, I'm actually somewhat even more surprised on second thought with how T-Dubs kind of handled the North Darkworld routing. He found the magic powder in Paradox Cave, and the useless fairy is our magic bat drop down today, and he fake flipped, he did the hula hand, so he knew that. I'm surprised he didn't just, like, go even knock that out of the way as a check. Because that's an item. But, we'll see. Poolfloat is doing Skullwoods.
Like, yeah, honestly, your thought from earlier that he just wasn't ready to be in that region of the world and probably didn't route the way he would want to and is just making the most of it now is probably correct.
Yeah.
Like, other than orphaning that chest in Castle Tower, which, I mean, there's no way he could have known there was a key there, obviously.
That's just more unfortunate with how the routing has gone.
Yeah, but like the rest of this otherwise, I wouldn't say it's really been inefficient. Like, he's clearing just a different high-value region, and it's not terrible to get back to that North Darkworld.
Well, there's our first glove.
I mean, there's an item that helps in North Darkworld. There's our other glove.
Oh boy, here we go. Well...
And from, so here's a fun little thought that TWW is going to get to have, is you have access to the Smith chain before you've seen the Smith. How does that impact your decision-making?
Oh, wait, no. Oh, wait, what was... I thought Powder... never mind. I stand corrected. I thought Powder was not in Skulls. I thought that was one of the items we picked out of Paradox. My bad. I apologize. I mean... Well, of course, the Candace Amaria is sitting in Mireshed. Some things never change, even if Mireshed has changed locations.
So yeah, this East Death Mountain has been very good. Mitts and a red cane, that's just very good.
Yeah.
But interestingly, we're not really in a position to do much with any of the dungeons. Also, interestingly, we actually have a pretty substantial amount of world clearing, and we have not seen very many dungeons at all.
I've seen about...
Like, we haven't seen Hera, Pod, Swamp, Thieves, any entrance of Turtle Rock, which is remarkable. No GT yet.
Yeah, that's about it. We've seen every entrance to Desert now. We've seen Eastern. We've seen Skull and Misery Mire. So
I just see this many remaining, and this is when the alarm bells start going off in my head. The odds at one of the really bad entrances, like, you know, one that needs a medallion or the super bomb are required, they're beginning to go up.
Oh, hey. He's moved out by the desert today, so there is absolutely no chance of bombs. Will this stop him from shuffling entrance in the future? Absolutely not.
I mean, I'm telling you, as a guy who doesn't want to mow his lawn, the desert is a great place to go.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, realistically, like we have like access to like every entrance in the game other than Mire and the two Hammerlock chests and Village of Outcasts, I think. And I guess technically, logically, the east side of Dark Lake Hylia. Well, it's a good thing that T-Dubs was able to find that entrance right now before even finding the Smith. I'll say that. Because he's not going to have to worry about the Smith getting deleted by going through Hype Cave.
Okay, so Swamp is the green pendant. That's probably one of the best dungeons to see come up pendant, because it has pretty onerous requirements all around.
Yeah, and of course in the next 5 checks we're going to get the hookshot, the flippers, we'll find the dam, and then the drain item will be the Swamp Key.
Yeah, the small key's really always the critical point, because even if Swamp is full of garbage, Hammer and Hookshot are also often really critical progression just for opening the left side of GT. That Swamp's small, though. If you don't need to be in Swamp, that can be in some truly buried places.
Or it could be vanilla.
Oh, come on, that would never appear vanilla. The game would never troll that way. Especially not if Swamp is in its vanilla location.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm going to have to say, like, I actually do kind of like the spread of our connectors this seed so far. Like, you have a nice connector just about anywhere. A screen or two off of all your starting locations to get you to where you kind of want to be.
Yeah, the main thing we haven't seen is a connector to the Mire region.
Yeah.
If we had that, we'd be perfect. Instead, we're just pretty good.
Well, we got a vanilla Quake today.
Also, we came out of the Turtle Rock entrance, so all the same, we just learned we don't need that.
Yeah. And this is good for Full Float, because he's just going to be kind of like... They're all kind of running back and forth right now. Float's chasing behind a little, though he's done a little bit different in parts of the overworld.
So, Turtle Rock's one of our 5-6 crystals. That doesn't really preclude a Turtle Rock entrance from being at the pyramid.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen Turtle Rock layouts where, like, you have one entrance somewhere horrible, like the Mire entrance. 2 are at Musconex, and then the last one's at, like, Ganon's Tower. So, could this be one of those seeds where you just can't find Turtle Rock?
So the other one is Desert. Alright. Now, I don't believe... Yeah, Pull Float did not... I don't believe Pull Float attempted to spend a small key for Desert. We'll probably be happy that he didn't. When he finds out that TR is a red crystal. Desert's a red crystal. You know, Pull Float looks at it and it's like, hey, it's a fire source. Also, I can see in the dark now.
Like, even if you had a fire rod, it would be bold, to say the least, to leave that lamp behind. Without a fire rod, I mean, it's not really a decision, is it?
No. I may have called a match earlier in this tournament where the fire rod was sitting on Desert Ledge, and your fire rod was sitting up in Mini Helmasaur Room. And the hookshot and boots were both in Ice Palace. And there was no and Bombos was behind the fire rod.
So, from TWW's perspective, why would you not pick up the frog immediately? Because there's no real downside to having the frog with you, right?
No. In fact, the one possible thing that he could have had an issue with, he can't have an issue with anymore.
Because I mean, even if the frog gets deleted,
yeah.
Like, so what? Pick him up again. Like, if the Smith had been in the library, which we knew it wasn't, but he didn't, and, like, now, what are you doing? Just take the frog, and it... So, okay, here's actually a point that maybe not everyone is aware of. I'm assuming TWW knows this, but maybe he doesn't. In normal Link to the Past, entrances that are flagged as multi-entrance, which includes all dungeon entrances, the frog cannot walk into. Entrance Rando removes that restriction. The frog can go anywhere. The frog will be deleted under, I believe it's 4 conditions. If you walk into the Old Man Rescue Cave, if you walk into the basement of Thieves Town, if you get a crystal, but not a pendant, just a crystal, or if you pick up Kiki.
I can think of probably a 5th condition.
Oh yeah, throwing the guy's sign?
Yep. Somehow, basically, you have to engage the follower state again. And some of those are easier to spot than others, but obviously it's like the Thieves Town one.
Actually, wait, no. The sky sign does not do it.
Interesting, because he actually follows you around.
Yeah, but there's a follower priority queue, and Kiki's higher priority, but he's lower. I remember this, because this actually came up as a really important point. Because you'll notice everything I listed is permanently missable. You know, you could have every crystal, or you could have already paid off Kiki. The fact that there is no permanent way to get rid of the Smith is why the Smith has to be accessible with only mitts, and he can't be, say, in Bonk Rocks. Because if you could get rid of the Smith, then it'd be fine for him to be in Bonk Rocks, right?
Sick Kid, you know, it took us a little while to get back to him with the bottle, but he had the Ice Palace Mickey. So, you know, nice to...
You know, that's actually not a bad one at all. Because, especially with the Cane of Samaria, both players are going to be thinking,
yeah,
you know, I would love to dive Ice Palace as soon as I can kill a freezer, but I'd hate to orphan the big chest. And now it's not a problem. Yeah. And, yeah, TWW just tried to pick up the purple chest. It is not there if you have not returned the Smith.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, I just realized TWW hasn't actually seen Ice Palace. Though he's clearly even been on the same screen as Ice Palace, well, in the Dark World, because that was one of our Lake Hylia entrances. So, now let's see here if there was anything of value at the bottom of Aga Tower.
Yeah, this is a major race point. And it's one of those things that, to pool float, this probably feels like just a random check. It was just a map.
Yeah.
But that easily could have been a race decider if that had been a critical late game item. Like, if that was the ice rod, that could just win the race right there. And you'd never know that's why you were about to win the race either.
Yeah. There's the other side, Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, I always refer to that as the good bee cave, just because that's where you get a good bee in vanilla.
Yeah. So, Full Float is going to be getting Azemits pretty quickly here after this. This is going to take him over to the other side of Death Mountain, which I'm pretty sure he'll be happy about to see. So he doesn't have to like kind of worry about maneuvering himself back up to the top of the mountain again. And here's T-Dubs is finally remembering that, hey, boots checks exist. I was unfortunately gotten a bit stuck with mirror bonking.
Float struggling to contain himself. Like, he already was reacting to one glove. The second was just,
yeah.
It was a bit much for the man's heart.
Yeah. So Allison and Chaz, if that key was really obvious, that key is actually really obvious. That was sitting over at Dark Lumberjack, and both of them came out at like Dark Sank, and Pool Float knows where connector up to bumper ledges. So like Pool Float should have thought like, oh, my opponent already has that small key the first time I've gotten here. Like on route, it makes sense. So the fact that T-Dubs kind of skipped that screen is kind of interesting, and probably something that he wouldn't have seen coming. That's what we were kind of getting at. Now, did we see the front of the old man, or did he? Is T-Dubs immediately going to go run through the back? I didn't see him leave the cave.
I have not kept track of that particular point, to be perfectly honest.
Well,
but yeah, we're now back in desert, and we are looking at a mushroom. Like, you see the mushroom there, and you have almost no feeling at all about it, because you've already seen the potion shop, so it's kind of whatever.
Yeah, the potion shop wasn't in a good spot, I remember that. Oh yeah, I was on top of Death Mountain.
Oh! Well, TWW had not done that. That's... Well, Super Bomb isn't required. And our save and quits this seed are really not good. 2 of them lead to the pyramid. So those who like heavy routing seeds are rooting heavily against the flute ever showing up.
And now I think Full Float's probably going to have to go around and check some of those glove checks that he has left orphaned before. So really, right now, both our runners have kind of strongly converged. I think the only thing is, Full Float knowing that this is going to be his way back over to the village of Alcas area.
This is going to be a sort of punish for TWW just coming to this area without the smith, because He could have found and turned in the Smith all in one clean move at Sahas's hut, but...
Yeah.
I don't know, it was... Not picking up the Smith was a very hard decision for me to understand.
Yeah.
You have to wonder if there was some mechanical misunderstanding behind it.
Yeah. Now, Pool Float, unfortunately, has walked by Bumper Ledge again. But is going to be heading over for, finally... 20 minutes later, is heading back over to check, Ice Rock Cave area.
Yeah, this is almost certainly one of those cases of, I have boots, I have glove, I feel it's efficient enough, this is just eating away at me.
Yeah. And in reality, I think he's kind of hit just about everything major right now.
Yeah, like, I would always do this from the Dark World, you know, fake flipper if you have to, just because it's more checks. But, like... I understand the feelings that cause this play, and...
even that, I do not hold it against anybody who is not comfortable doing the fake flipper to Dark Shopping Mall. Wow, almost vanilla. He moved out from the desert. But to be fair, like, I do not hold that against anybody, considering, like, if you're not familiar with the fake flipper to get you to Dark Shopping Mall, the amount of zeros that are there makes it very likely that you're hit unless you kind of know the setup that gives you enough iframes to get you there. And you don't want to be losing those 40, 50 seconds that you could be seeing.
Oh yeah, if you get hit by the zero, that is absolutely horrible. The general trick, if you don't want an advanced setup, is just make sure you're moving to the right when you hit the swim portal.
Yeah.
Like, if you just are holding to the right and you just, you know, move really fast, the zeros... I think mathematically they can get you, but their movements have to be, like, frame-perfect optimal to screw you over.
Yeah, it's very unlikely, but it can happen. Okay, so... Somewhere there's a Pikachu that got a mask. Late bid is, not late bid. T-Dubs in chat has found the back of desert. I am surprised he is stealing this key. I was not surprised that, I was not surprised that Pool Float stole the key. I'm surprised that T-Dubs stole the key because T-Dubs knows desert's a crystal.
I mean, it's not awful in the sense that going to Desert Right is very fast, because Desert Right is on top of the pyramid, and if there's one place we can get quickly in this seed, it's the top of the pyramid. So, like, that's a very easy save scum if you ever feel your options are poor. And if you, given that he was going to save and quit out of that entrance anyway, it cost even less than it usually does.
Yeah,
Because, yeah, like, if you open this up and you see, like, the fire rod in there or the hammer, then, I mean, you're just keeping it because you know you're going to need that key anyway, right?
Yeah, but of course, then you could get something like the book. Okay, here we go. Small key to Misery Mire.
Yeah, that's something you feel very safe not keeping. And the sea appears on the screen as you pick up the map, and you didn't actually need that information, but hey.
And Latefit's found GT. Flipper's locked.
So, that Bombos could be a really good find here.
Yeah. We know where Ice Palace is. You can get into Ice Palace now. It's obviously out of logic. Somehow today, Ice Palace has apparently, at least in one form or another, turned out to be Flippers locked. Though not Flippers locked. You know, because Randomizer's got jokes. But yeah, no, this is pretty good for late bit. This is 3 good items for him, and then he'll be able to... Actually, no, 4. You can grab the torch item, what am I saying?
Yeah, like, the thing is, going into Ice Palace, I don't think is a terrible play here, because you're not really in position to do any other dungeons. Well, I don't know. You don't have a hammer, so yeah, it is still bad.
Well, we got a small key, so we can at least...
Yeah, but I mean, are you going into Ice Palace out of logic without a hammer? That'd be,
Yeah. Yeah, actually, we should kind of, like, maybe take a step back and see exactly what do we have left that's in logic right now. Smiths. There's the damn item. I don't believe either runner... I guess...
I mean, we have a couple entrances remaining, like, our good friend, the Southwest Death Mountain Foothills Cave, is still unchecked, I believe.
The upper portion, yes. Late bit is, here comes, sorry, Full Flood is going to be going, and I guess taking a look at Desert Palace. Apparently missed the fact that this is the bomb hut earlier. Honestly, like, right now, like, the damn... I'm just trying to think, like, where else do we have in logic? We haven't seen Race Game. I don't believe either runner scouted
We have seen the Race Game entrance. TWW did it.
That's right. Did.
Yeah, I'm not thinking of anything quickly other than the Foothills Cave entrance and the dam item. We haven't gone into Eastern. That's actually becoming real likely.
Yeah. Now, what is... Okay.
Though, this is new. Neither was able to do this because the bottom of the mountain had the gloves, and there's thieves. This is a quality find.
Yeah. There's our first of our boomerangs. Some would say the better the boomerangs. Others would vehemently disagree.
Some of us would say both boomerangs are really meh. They're about equally meh.
I'd say I'd like the red boomerang a little bit more, unless I had flippers. But I also had Samaria, so what am I saying? I just do Samaria plus Splash Deletion instead. Yeah, that's interesting. So this is a good 4 items here. Ooh! And, you know what? We know where Hookshot Cave is.
Yeah, that doesn't really do anything else for us other than a Hookshot Cave by itself. I think we have access to everything else that would normally do, and all the other stuff it does also needs a hammer.
Yeah, we have seen Swamp Palace.
Yeah, we've seen Swamp and GT, but, I mean, we are...
I mean, so flippers could get us into Swamp. And then, of course, we're
the hammer is, I think, going to be the big story here.
Hammer or loot, I'd have to think.
Because, like, a hammer gets us left side GT. It's a critical component to making progress in Swamp and being able to use that hook shot.
Yeah.
Hammer will let us full clear Ice Palace, out of logic, but still we can do it. Oh, hey, look, a big key to the still conspicuously absent Turtle Rock. And a not very helpful Castle Tower small key.
Oh, no. Well, I think you would say that actually does open up another... that does actually open up another entrance.
Yeah. Let's call that the hardest to last locations. For anyone who doesn't follow, because honestly this didn't immediately occur to even me, you can beat Aga 1 to get rid of the electric barrier at the Castle Tower entrance.
Oh, boy. Alright, well...
I think we're going to converge on Eastern Palace here. Also, by the way, we have Smith Chain. That is totally a valid answer to this seed.
Yes.
And I kind of actually suspect now that we're looking at where he's going, that's probably what Pool Float's going to do. Well, TWW is just biting the bullet and going into Eastern.
Well, Float hasn't done Village of Outcast yet. This is kind of his last cluster of entrants he hasn't seen. So doing this in Smith Chain makes a lot of sense.
To answer a question in chat, they did not start with boots. They just happened to be relatively early.
Yes.
I mean, this is a seed that fairly early gave boots, mirror, sword.
Yeah.
A little comfort for the runners.
Yeah. An interesting thing. Oh yeah, we also have like our foothills scheme. Though I would also say that, like, from an interesting perspective, like, the entrance randomizer does not actually allow you to start with inventory. Still. I don't know why that's never been a thing, but it's never been a thing. I mean, I can understand why it was never a thing to be, but I've never understood why it has never been added on.
I mean, under the hood, the entrance randomizer is actually a completely different randomizer than the non-entrance one, so it's mostly a matter that no one has ever done the effort of re-implementing the feature.
Yeah. Look, I just want to give me the ability to do a quick cross, but does not have conditional key logic, or has my vanilla my Skullwood's small key and pinball brain, please. That's all I ask. I shouldn't be able to fish out my Moon Pearl on 5 with only 4 pod smalls. Yeah, so... There wasn't really anything in Eastern Palace. And the Smith World Tour has started.
I'm sure we're all hoping for the fully vanilla bow, the other bow locked for maximum punish.
So what entrances haven't we seen in terms of, like, the only
Oh, here's a new check. The catfish.
Look, this check doesn't exist.
Okay, I'm just gonna say, so here's a math point. Like, in Crosskeys, on average, everything takes longer, right? Like, the seeds are like an hour longer than open mode seeds, right?
Yeah.
But the static overworld checks, like Catfish and Hobo, are exactly the same. So they're actually way better in this mode than they are in other modes. And people who still try to skip them, I think, are not thinking...
That doesn't change the fact that they don't exist. He doesn't exist. And he can't hurt you if you skip him. Yeah, now,
I mean, I'm not saying you just beeline Catfish every time, but like going and checking 5 more entrances hoping for a single item cave versus just doing Catfish, what's really faster?
Bro. I mean, honestly, I don't think we saw Blindside.
Oh, wow. So, TWW is the first to that, and it will actually serve as a good advantage for him, but that has to feel bad knowing that he basically walked right past that and could have had that flute like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I agree and I disagree. I agree that it's going to be an advantage for TWW. Pull Float's kind of going to be getting right back there pretty quickly. Pull Float's one problem right now is I don't know if he's checked Hype Cave. I think he has, but Hype Cave is the old man connector, is the old man rescue cave. And it will delete the Smith.
That'll be a little annoying. Also, it's extremely likely that Flute is actually, like, not just convenient, but our progression.
Oh, yeah, no.
We have Mitts, like, and a mirror.
We have Mitts and a mirror. We can get into the Maya region. We haven't seen a single entrance to Turtle Rock yet. So there's at least one or two of them probably just sitting there in Maya right now, because we don't have any else.
It's also worth noting that Pool Float has the Turtle Rock big key, but neither player has a single Turtle Rock small key.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of a big deal, because if you find one of the two middle doors, no one can easily go to Laser Bridge. This might be a situation you consider stealing the Pokey key to go to Laser Bridge.
Yeah. Now, interestingly here, this is going to be a moment of decision for Pool Float. The Bonk Rocks entrance, but so here's the problem. If he goes south through the rock here and goes checks, that'll be Saha. But if he goes north, he can find the Bonk Rocks and he'll be able to like turn the Smith in pretty damn quickly. I think you kind of want him to go north right now. He's not. He's going to lose the Smith. He'll probably get funneled back to that Smith in a little bit, but he's also probably going to run through Eastern Palace first.
And honestly, I can't blame Pool Float at all for this routing. It's just basically bad luck it works out this way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, realistically, like, there isn't... It's just unfortunate. There's Blindside.
That was, not very good.
No.
Maybe the last chest redeems it? Nope.
No. Yeah, so fortunately, Pool Float's also gonna will likely be losing some time because he's heading for Hype Cave, which means he's gonna go open it up and then see, oh no. Yeah, here we go. Oh, there's our Palace of Darkness entrance. Now, let's see if he remembers what's about to happen. Yeah, he did.
There's an Eastern big key right at the entrance of Pod to just really immediately give you the anxiety about going back to Eastern for big chest.
Yeah.
Doesn't TWW have a potion? I'm surprised he didn't do the right side there.
Yeah, especially he also had one pod small, like he has at least one pod small key. So he should know that. Well, let's see. Now, let's see if Pool Float is able to recover this a little bit.
Actually, TWW might just be saying, let me clear the rest of the Maya region, see if it just gives me a bow or more pod small keys.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. There's Ether, which we found somewhere. So we had vanilla medallions today. Let's see if any of them actually matter. Well, that's our...
Hera Big is nice. I mean, I'd say we have a hook shot. Pool Float has a hook shot.
Okay, good. So Pool Float here is going to take a death and set up a save scum. They got to check right side of Desert Palace. But right now is kind of in this unfortunate position of where he's not going to be able to get to this like cluster of entrances for a little while. Doesn't have a whole lot left in logic though, which is good for him. But Okay, so Ether was an Eastern Pal. Ooh, alright.
Here's our first Turtle Rock entrance. It's the best one, Laser Bridge. So if I'm TWW here, I'm probably just going straight back to Crystal Roller Room and out that left exit and just seeing where it takes me.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Honestly, you may even take a shot for chain chomps. But no further than that. I mean, you can't get any further than that anyway, but...
Yeah, I mean, what I would do is I would go to... I'd go out the left door, and unless I get stuck, I'd probably go back in and do chomps.
Yeah. So,
granted, it's not that unlikely at this point you get stuck, just given what's left. But no, TWW's happy with just the Crystal Roller Room.
And here comes Catfish for full float. Yeah, okay, and he's going to go back into pod. Anyway, we're about an hour and 10 minutes in. I just want to quickly give a shout out to our runners. Would help if I clicked on the chat box window. Thank you, Tom Talk. Our runners full float, and TWW2 or T-Dubs, and our my co-com Amazing Ampharos, and our trackers, Lady Laura Linda and Leipid.
Hey, we just confirmed Angle 1 not required.
We don't know that yet.
Yes, we do. We just found a Master Sword.
There's still one other way we can get Aga 1.
No, we don't need to do Super Bomb.
Oh, wait, no. Where's Bomb Shop? Oh, yes. Damn it.
I mean, we've come out of it as a door.
I know. I forgot. I was like, no, wait. We could still have Hammer. But no, that is a connector. A connector to literally the desert, so it doesn't matter. Good on Pool Float. This is actually an entrance. There's our Quake medallion. So we have knowledge of all three of our medallions now.
There's a different Mire small key to save us time later in Mire and make us feel not bad at all about the one we are never getting in Desert.
Yeah, and this is going to be Tower. Oh, good. No, this is the bottom of Spiral Cave. Yet another connector that we haven't seen yet. Yeah, unfortunately, Pool Float is kind of like... Unfortunately, accidentally deleting the Smith, he's now kind of chasing whatever logical loose ends he has available.
That is a thoroughly out-of-logic hammer. That's fascinating.
Look, it's in pod. What more do you want? There's probably 2 more pod small keys in pod. Somehow. Don't ask me how. They can't be...
we actually just confirmed there are no pod small keys in pod. With 100% locations, none of the remaining checks can have them.
Look. The Yaml could have gotten messed up for all we know. No, obviously. So that is... I'm actually trying to think, like, right now, where an entrance we could get that would be more interesting for TR left right now. And the only thing that's coming up to mind is, like, Dark Shopping Mall. On the east side of Dark Lake Hylia. Because we kind of have everywhere else on the mountain, including... And we know that the item on... There was just rupees on the floating island. So... Pool Float is considering going to Ice Palace. I hope for his sake he doesn't. And T-Dubs is doing it, and Pool Float is heading for Eastern.
It's really hard to blame him for this Eastern play. And in terms of what else could be the answer, the thing that comes quickly to mind is I don't believe we've seen the purple chest yet.
No. No, right now it's after Eastern, full float's basically down to Smith and Purple Chest.
I mean, half magic is not a terrible find in your Out of Logic Mimic Cave. Half magic is the best item in the game that doesn't really save time.
So the one thing that is kind of a good thing right now for Little Float is still that hook shot. Swamp is a pendant though, so it may not 100% be required. It could just be for like weird Ice Palace logic.
Oh yeah, the Master Sword could be the progression just to go into the Castle Tower entrance.
Yeah, that sword's in logic.
I'm guessing TWW wanted time to think about what his options are, and it's just like, you know, am I really going to finish the seed without ever doing back a skull? Probably not. Let's just go do it.
Yeah. Could have done this like the first time through, but he only had a fighter sword, so finding the Master Sword's probably just like, you know, let's just get it done.
I mean, it's mostly coming back here with the flutes relatively free. He's run out of other super appealing flute plays.
Yeah.
And probably, yeah, just wants a moment to think. Like, you know this is still out of logic without the last Skullwood small key and without a Fire Rod, but it's easy to do, so why not?
Yeah. So that was our Eastern Palace Big Key in not the Eastern Palace Big Key, but that was our Ether in Eastern Palace Big Key chest. So yeah, so we have a question in chat from our restreamer, Tumble Talk. The Hyrule Castle small key that is locking the last 3 items in Hyrule Castle could, in fact, totally be in the sewers, and we have to go climb GT to get to it. That is 100% something to do in a seed. That's why, like in a seed where you have to climb one of the 2 towers, you frequently see runners try to do a save scum in order to kind of sequence break around that, and sometimes it works off.
Yeah, the usual meta. The meta I've seen kind of develop is you always steal the key if it's Castle Tower, and it's a little more situational if it's Ganon's Tower because the climb has 4 items itself. Whereas, you know, the Castle Tower climb is just... it's several minutes of just dead time if you have to do it unnecessarily.
Yeah. So, I believe... Okay, so this will be the hammer checks and, probably hammer pegs for T-dubs. Full float. Not happy that he missed the flute that, just due to bad luck with routing. Oh good. More Turtle Rock entrances.
Yeah, there is our Turtle Rock big chest. Always good to know where that is.
Now, he does not have the big key for that. And that will be a point of divergence when it comes to it, but... no, there is no good way to cack. This is probably his best way to cack, in all honesty.
Yeah, our saving quits are Link's house, the pyramid, also the pyramid. It's not ideal.
No. Let's see if Full Float will opt to go and quickly pop in and do Purple Chest before checking my region. Nah.
Like, For us, we want him to do it because it's more knowledge, but I think with what he knows, this is a very easy to justify decision. Like, you'd much rather just do that with hammer and do hammer pegs, right?
Yeah.
In the Maya region, like, how could that not be the answer? It's so much. Granted, with what we're seeing, it's kind of looking like it's actually not the answer, which is remarkable.
Got a bit unlucky with the third laser skip. Yeah, so...
So remind me where that hook shot was again?
Face Town on top of Death Mountain.
Yeah, so that's kind of a big deal because... Well, I mean, I guess TWW also hasn't seen Ganon's tower. So in a sense, it's not a big deal because, like, if I had what both runners have put together, I would say Logic's Magic, and I would just do left side GT.
Yeah. I mean, you're missing flippers, but at this point, flippers may not be 100% required.
I mean, you're mostly just doing left side GT, hoping you can get a combo of items that lets you start doing dungeons efficiently, you know?
Yeah. Actually, the one problem that we're gonna have on, and this is gonna be a thing that'll come up maybe in a little bit is, Poolfoot doesn't know how to get to Misery Mire. And he probably won't know how to get to Misery Mire for a long time.
Wait, Mire could totally just be the answer, right? I mean, we can just boots bonk in.
Or hookshot in. Both are in logic. Yeah.
Like, Mire's been a possibility for quite a while.
Yeah, ever since boots. Because that's the Mimic Cave entrance, and to do that, you gotta take a connector out of Kakariko Village.
In fact, honestly, as we look at our options, isn't it by far the most probable answer, Mire?
Yeah. Mire probably has got at least some of the pot small keys that we need for that healing.
Though, I mean, we've already seen most of what that hammer leads to out of logic, right? Like, Spike Cave is still not in logic, so everyone can rest easy about that fun little piece.
Yeah, now, I don't know if you actually noticed this on the Laser Bridge pickup, but did you see what one of the items was? Of course, there's the tower here, it's been hiding. One of our items on Laser Bridge today was a shield. Which is actually
so that means the mirror shield is not the intended way to get that shield.
Yeah.
Well, there's the Tower of Hera, speaking of which.
Yeah, this is just, you know, we could have beaten Naga Tower a long time ago just to get this entrance open. Full Flood has opted to go all the way up to change humps.
In terms of the who's in the lead question, which, unlike some people, I love this question. My viewpoint is that I actually, as crazy as it is, I think I favor Pool Float's position because I really like that hook shot. But that's kind of a hot take. Because I can see why you would like TWW's position. They're not... what makes it interesting here is their advantages aren't symmetric. Like... TWW is definitely ahead in terms of linear progress, and the knowledge of Mire's location is very good. I feel like Pool Float has checked a lot of wrong answers, and I really like having the hook shot. Now, it is also very easy to look at some of what Pool Float did. He made more what I'd call obviously time-losing plays early, but that doesn't necessarily... kind of the history of it, not like what his position is now, right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, a lot of the early bunny walking did 100% pay off, in a sense, but it also really, like, a lot of what he did, he found a lot of spots that weren't actually all that bad to get back to in the grand scheme of things. It didn't really lose them too much time. I believe that is our first Mystery Mire small key in Logic.
We've seen all three, and there was the Fire Rod, which is our logical way into Ice Palace.
So far. Okay, so what you're saying is, so you're basically confirming that the Fire Rod is going to Library Flippers.
I mean, this is a point where you're like, okay, Ice is now in Logic. I have the ability to full clear it. I have this Cane of Samaria so I can Icebreaker. It's probably a crystal. Why wouldn't I just clear Ice Palace here? I mean, it's now really probably a crystal because Harrow is a pendant. And you don't feel bad at all getting a pendant out of Hera here because Turtle Rock's a crystal, Fire Rod's required, so, I mean, you had to do the dungeon anyway, Moldorm's quick.
Yeah. So Snollens is a crystal. Yeah, so this is okay. So this is going to be a good spot for. Here we go. So this is going to kind of equalize some stuff up for T-dubs.
Well, we just learned Ice is a pendant. It's the last pendant. I don't think either runner has full pendant crystal knowledge, but with that pool float map check, we do. And yeah, I definitely would agree with Ike in chat that TWW is pretty clearly... I think he's actually in the lead regardless of whether he decides to finish Thieves here, because he's going to get the hook shot, which is the single biggest advantage Pool Float had. And he knows where every dungeon is, and he's in a position to just start clearing them. It's possible he can finish this seed without really doing much more entrance diving, just checking dungeons and finding the items.
Now, Pool Float came up with another pod small key somewhere in his travels.
And yeah, TWW is opting to continue. I definitely think that's the more obvious decision here. This isn't in a great place to return to. And, I mean, orphaning the Thieves Town big chest, like, it's not great, but... I mean, you have to make calls at some point. It's not the end of the world.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, there is our sewers key locked behind every pod small key. But that's really an interesting find there because there's still really nothing preventing like the ice rod from being back there.
Yeah. Alright. So our Desert Smoky... I'm half tempted to see what's on Misery Mire today, just because... That's another key. That's another thing that's just locking all that left side of Mire now. The Thieves Town Swamp key that we are now missing.
Yeah, Pool Float can still get the hammer, but he basically chose Vanilla Big Key over Harmless Hellway, which is not what most people do, but I don't think it's terrible. Especially if you want to make Divergence at relatively low cost, that's a pretty good way to do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where Pool Float pulled that extra pod small from, but he did.
So yeah, not too much of real interest in the back of Thieves Town, but it's a crystal, so if the big key chest, or if the big chest is nothing, then that's just an efficiency gain for not having to come back up here. And yeah, TWW learns that his last pendant is Ice Palace, so he now has full pendant crystal knowledge. But that also probably feels kind of bad, because that makes it just a little less obvious where you go. Because if Ice had been a crystal, it was just the really easy call. It might honestly still be the call even as a pendant. Though, I mean, Ganon's Tower is also just calling.
Yeah, obviously. So this will be the Turtle Rock Big Key, I believe, for T-dubs. Yeah.
So, TWW for Go Mode needs a bow, the Pod and Mire Big Keys, and the Ice Rod. Not really that far.
No. Where is Bullblood going to go to now?
I guess he also needs another Pod Small Key, because he spent both, but, I mean, it's very unlikely you'd find all those other things without finding one of those.
Especially considering we know that we presumably have 3 that are in Logic right now. And 2 of those need to be locking a... Well, here's going to be GT for T-dubs, by the way. But considering that we still have like 1 more before we even get to Hayward Logic, there's got to be a 4th somewhere coming up soon.
Yeah, especially with Swamp being a pendant, so you don't necessarily actually ever need to find those flippers. I think you just get every item other than the big chest out of this basement.
So, interesting. Fire Rod was in the top of here, which is in Logic, because we have Sword. Kane's in Logic. We have 3 smalls. So we theoretically have Ice Armos in Logic. We have Ice Armos in Logic.
Yeah, at least insofar as this place could be in Logic at all, which it isn't without flippers, but...
True, true.
Again, given that you... The mindset I think you're likely to have here is, TWW, is I don't care if I ever find flippers, I don't want to do Swamp anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like, if I'm going to have to do Swamp, it'll be at a point when I'll inevitably have to have found flippers.
Yeah, and of course, Bullfloat's still, yeah. I'm just afraid, right now, I'm just, until Bullfloat finds Mire, I'm just kind of like, ugh. I just got an uneasy feeling in my chest that that's going to be what's going to decide the race. But, we'll see.
I mean, because he hasn't found Mire, and Mire is required, Poolfloat has more incentive. Oh, there's another Fun Pod small key behind all the GT smalls. And a Tempered Sword for convenience. But Poolfloat has incentive to keep checking entrances, which, if any of just the random item caves in the remaining entrances have value, like the shopping mall in particular stands out to me, that could be something that plays in relevantly.
I hate to tell you this, but according to my notes, we're only really missing like 2 item caves. Spiral Cave and C-shaped house. We have seen the bottom side of Spiral. But...
I'm pretty sure we've seen C-shaped house.
Okay, then we're only missing Spiral.
I mean, Spiral Cave is a cave with an item in it. There's another pod small, so that's immediately not a problem.
You know, I'm kind of hoping that the pod small over on the left side, on the right side, was our 4th pod small in Logic. It could be.
Well, it's definitely not the one in Stalfos' room.
Yeah, that's obviously 5 or 6. That boomerang, what? Oh, really, really long, really far away. Yeah. Bullfloat is heading for Mothula, so he'll be shortly getting his first crystal on the board.
You know, the pod small keys are nice in a sense. Like, of the 3 he got, TWW needs 1. The tempered sword is a time saver. But, so far, GT not really with the goods. Kana Burna to, insofar as this place is in logic at all, put Spike Cave into logic.
Yeah, or getting our Mirror Shield.
Yeah, like, the Kana Burna would put Laser Bridge in logic if it were in logic itself, but, that's not really relevant, is it? Like, nothing on Laser Bridge mattered.
No.
I mean, getting the Mirror Shield... It's funny that the Mirror Shield logically is gated behind an invincibility item, but given that it only would open the place it is, perhaps not as helpful as it could be.
Oh, here we go.
TWW coward, pull out that red boomerang and beat these Armos like a man.
Okay, and meanwhile, it's... We don't want to be here all night, man. Just...
Oh, come on, you have to understand the extra benefit of using the red boomerang in this room with this ice floor and just... You get all that extra time to really aim your shot while the game's lagging.
Oh, good. There's our Thieves Down small key. Which is in logic. That means they're just...
In logic insofar as entering GT is, yeah.
Realistically, like, there's nothing on Mars. That's...
Now, because he needed a pod small key to beat the game and found 3 of them there, you can't feel too bad about that play, because, like, it was actually pretty unlikely TWW could beat the seed without finding GT, given the, massive number of pod smalls there.
Yeah.
And of course, there's also the secondary little detail of the tempered sword will save time in every fight for the rest of the seed.
Bullfloat's heading for a laser eyes, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think this is a good play from his perspective. We know nothing's really going to come of it, but
yeah,
he doesn't have a way to know that.
Yeah, I think he's trying to figure out a way. He's still missing a connection up to the bridge for Total Rock, so he's hoping that this is almost vanilla or semi-vanilla.
Yeah, but TWW diving ice, which is understandable, especially because like, at this point, left side Myers extremely low odds. You don't have the big key to Myers, so you're kind of doing those density calculations for Meyer, and they're not really looking that good.
Well, now this is actually really interesting. This is actually a nice score for Bullfloat. So, well, like our only major item cave we're missing is Spiral. Friend of TR is still 3 items, and it's 3 fast items. Fast-ish items.
So, with a small key and the big key in the Kana Samaria, TWW didn't need to hit that crystal switch, right?
No. If you want a full clear GT, you don't even if you have a small key or not, just having the big key is enough.
Yeah, I have nothing but sympathy for however many pause buffers and inputs this takes TWW. Icebreaker is a very finicky trick.
Ooh.
There's... wow. Okay, so... An interesting point about the flippers there is, where does Bumper Cave's other side lead? Because either that's behind all 4 Turtle Rock small keys.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Laser Eyes takes you there. The Turtle Rock left is the other entrance to Dark Shopping Mall. There were 2 Turtle Rock entrances there.
Oh. So, okay, yeah, that's how you get there.
Yeah.
I mean, have we actually concluded 4 small keys aren't available anyway, even if there's obviously a shorter path?
Oh
yeah, and that was a big.
It had to. There was a key on the left side of GT, and that was locked by the flippers.
And while we were so excited over what Pool Float was finding, our wonderful tracker, Lady Laura Linda, pointed out that Pool Float TWW just found the Mire Big and Pendant Ice, which is a very big deal. That is a very required item in a pendant dungeon that Pool Float probably doesn't want to do, but in a sense, not knowing where Mire is might help him into finding it.
Yeah, so from Pool Float's perspective, what he really actually has to do is, like, walk out of Eastern Palace and go immediately, like, 2 houses to the left to find Mire.
Ice Rod, somewhat fittingly, in the Ice Palace big chest. That's a very significant find.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the only thing we need for no mode is the pod big key.
So,
and yeah, like, the next decision for TWW is about as obvious as they come. You just beat Mire. Like, that's not even, like, a thought. Just beat Mire. Yeah. It's a crystal you can full clear. You haven't even touched it. It's also worth pointing out that TWW doesn't necessarily need to find the same bow Pool Float did. There are 2 bows to find, and if he finds the other one, he maybe never needs to make his way to the shopping mall.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, a very likely play... Oh, well, he's going to get his bow this way. This is smart. Yeah. Kill Trinex, and you just get spit out of the front.
Yeah.
But a very likely place for the other bow at this point, just given what we've checked, is Swamp Palace. And no one wants to go there.
You know, there was somebody in chat earlier named Swamp Palace, so I'm sure they love to hear this.
I mean, that person doesn't want to go to Swamp Palace. That person's always at Swamp Palace.
Yeah. Actually, I believe that is our last pod small key, by the way.
Yeah, it sounds like user Swamp Palace stole the key in left side swamp in vanilla where the water never goes down. Just stuck there forever, unable to get to Argus.
There were 3 in GT. DM and compass rooms are the more interesting ones. No, pull float! Pull float! Okay. Accidentally ditched the purple chest.
Yeah, but at this point, in order for this race to remain competitive, the most important thing is the pod big key cannot be directly on TWW's path, which is mostly saying it can't be in Mire. If the pod big key's in Mire, there's really no way TWW loses this race. Yeah. If it's anywhere else, there's still a lot that can happen.
Yeah, now let's see. Where is Full Float going? Has Full Float, remember, the one entrance, the one thing he hasn't checked. Well, so this, okay, so he is going to go take the long way around. And see what is in the back of the sewers. This is all...
Now, this is a place that if pod big key were, would actually be a huge advantage to Pool Float. Because I don't see TWW making his way here anytime soon.
Yeah. Especially if there's something like a GT Picky. It could also be like a GT Picky back here, which would be absolutely horrible.
Yeah, realistically, a pod big key is in Swamp with Sahasrara or on the pedestal. This is just a full clear seed, and it's going to kind of be an execution and efficiency race. And given the amount of dungeon clearing TWW's done, that should favor him, but I don't think it's quite decisive yet.
I swear I don't have a witch's hat.
I mean, that's not necessarily a bad outcome for Pool Float, because that's where you start saying, okay, if pod big keys in the GT big chest or in the climb, I mean, the GT big chest especially would be just devastating for TWW. The climb, I think, would be less devastating.
Yeah. So... this will also be netting Pool Float his T-Town small key.
Also, I've been missing a critical detail the whole time, which is we also need a desert big key.
Oh, yes.
That just trivial detail that we actually need all the crystals.
Yeah, look, the desert's a mirage. It doesn't exist. It's like Catfish. No, Cemetery... T-Dubs is not about to get his GT big key. His GT big key is located in the back of Hyrule Castle.
The sewers key is in pod in the vanilla big key chest, and given that pod big key is one of the main things he's looking for, and he's done most of pod already, that's just not a place he's likely to go back to anytime soon.
Yeah. And I kind of expect Pool Float just to full clear GT at this point. Unless there's something of significant importance in the GT big chest. Because Pool Float's still missing, like, Ice Rod. Yeah. Ice Rod,
yeah, kind of a problem
Mire.
Pool Float's looking at is that, like, he hasn't seen Mire, and he hasn't gotten all the value out of Pendant Ice. You really don't want to do Pendant Ice in his position, and that's kind of what hurts, because we know it's very required.
Well, he hasn't touched Pendant Ice at all. So, Yeah, he's doing the math in his head on how this key logic is working out.
Pendant Ice has both the Ice Rod and the Misery Mire Big Key.
I believe this is a Mega Man mix, NES mix MSU that we're listening to on Full Float side. This should be Mega Man 2, Wily Stage 1, and Wily Stage 2. I have played that game way too many frickin' times. Uh-oh.
I'm somewhat surprised TWW prioritized the mushroom over, I mean, it looks like he was going to try to jump down to Mimic Cave and then kind of realized, wait, that's not how that works.
Thieves' Big Chest is also right now a potential thing that I could get Full Float back into this race. Yeah, here we go. This is Mimic Cave.
Yeah, like, at this point, if Meyer just leads directly to the end of the seed, TWW has this. So Pool Float fans are kind of hoping Meyer's a bust.
Well, we found our Sanctuary Heart today.
Granted, 2 items from Go Mode, Meyer can be half rewarding and there can still be intrigue left. One of the 2 could be here.
Yeah, unfortunately, Pool Float forgot that the that little room where you do the half teleport in after the teleport maze, the very last one. That pod in that room actually has arrows.
It is, I believe, actually the only place you can get arrows in vanilla in the basement of GT.
I think there might be 1 or 2 more, 1 pod in the Ice Armor's room, but yeah. He has... Uh-oh, he has run himself out of arrows. He has gotten some more arrows. And is not going to climb.
Yeah, I don't think Pool Float ever intended to climb, given how he used his arrows there. He was like, you know, those 4 items, it's 150, I don't believe.
Probably is trying right now to work out a way to get to Thieves, to Desert Thieves Town again.
Unsurprisingly, left Meyer was garbage, given the location of the Meyer keys this seed. But let's see the other 6 chests in Meyer, which are significantly more likely to have what we're looking for. To answer a question in chat, no, you do not necessarily need to beat Aga 2. In fact, in this seed, we know you don't need to beat Aga 2, so even if they climb, they would just mirror after the Moldorm 2 chest.
The standard setting for Crosskeys is something called Fast Cannon, which means cannon's available just wherever he is.
Yeah, historically the mode was known as Crystals, which was somewhat confusing. I don't know that Fast Cannon's actually less confusing, but I guess it really couldn't have been more confusing.
Our drop today at the pyramid is Sanctuary. However, The item, one of the 3 items that is behind that drop is actually the Gigantic Star Big Key, which means we can't actually ever drop, have to kill Agatu because, well, we can't actually access Agatu without finding the Hyrule Castle Small Key first. So here's going to be Thief's Town for Pool Float.
Given that Meyer has really not had the goods, that Thief's Town Big Chest is looking a little better from our perspective right now.
Yeah. We still have 2 chests in Swamp. Just putting that out there.
I mean, we can reach 1. Oh, wait, TWW is a Swamp Small. Where was that?
I actually missed that. I don't think he does. I think he just says a Swamp Palace. Actually, no, he does. I missed it. Oh, Trinex had it. Oh, boy.
Because, yeah, we don't have 2 chests in Swamp. We have 10. Effectively 12 if you include Sahas in the pedestal.
Fancy a Paradox?
That was a very big drop from Trinex that we kind of spaced on. Man, being a commentator is great. You can make as many mistakes as you want. It still works.
Yeah.
If the runners made these sort of oversights, they'd never finish.
Yeah. Why do you think I stopped tracking?
I mean, at this point, actually, the more you think about it, going into Swamp with 2 items from Go Mode is almost certainly required.
Yeah.
Like, it's not wrong to dig here, just in case.
I mean, Swamp's right next to Flute Spot 4 anyway, so it's not that bad.
And yeah, Pool Float at this point is very far behind in linear progression, so...
Yeah.
And he opted out of the climb, which was one of his outs, so he kind of needs something to happen. And this big chest is a pretty good something that could happen. And it's something that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Hey, there's the last GT small key. That has logic implications for Pod. It's not going to prove relevant here, but it does. I mean, I think that's ultimately what puts our climb in logic in its own twisted way.
And hey, now we can kill Mothula. Isn't it great knowing that Mothula is Slipper Slock this seed? And was not totally killed with somebody in a lamp and a Master Sword? So Pool Float is going to take on Blind now.
You know, it's kind of a point to laugh about how Moth is always so much earlier practically killable than he's logically available, but in a way, isn't that a feature, not a bug? Because, like, Mothula low percent, especially if you're a newer runner, is one of the most horrible things that can happen to you. Like, that fight is very much not free.
No, I think Mothula is very much a bug. But,
I mean, Mothula is a bug. The Mothula requirements are not so much bugs. In vanilla, Mothula is a buggy bug because of all the bugs involving the fight.
Yeah. Alright. So, Pool Float right now still has to do ice, but he also still has to find Meyer and find the connection up to Meyer, and he hasn't done it. Good. Good. Does not have the Meyer Big Key, which is a problem. But we'll have at least found Meyer. Now, somebody asked if there was a question in chat if pedestals in logic. Harrison logic.
I believe the answer is just yes. Ped is in logic.
Well, if the Swan Small is on Trinix, we're still missing another TR Small. But that's about it.
Yeah, I guess we're missing a TR Small somewhere, but I mean, at this point, where even could it be other than in Swamp or with Sahas, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, wait, you can't. The TR Small can't be behind the Swamp Small, so could it be in Spike Cave?
Spike Cave or the Climb, maybe.
Yeah, the Climb would be a... But wait, no, it can't be the Climb because the Hyrule Castle Small Key is behind all the Pod Keys, and there is a GT Small Key behind the Swamp Small Key.
Oh. Neither runner's done Swamp. Let's just go and settle this with Skullwood's Big Chest right now, because I don't think either runner's done that.
Skullwood's Big Chest and Spike Cave are definitely possibilities.
Yeah.
Or it could be in Spiral Cave from the Vanilla Skullwood's entrance.
Yeah, we still haven't actually seen that. I don't think either of our runners are going to be checking entrances for a very long time now that basically everybody's found all the dungeons and has most of the pieces to complete just about everything.
I mean, TWW might check the remaining entrances if Swamp, Sahas, and Ped are a bust, because, I mean, what's he even have to do after all this, right? Like, he can go back to Pod and just check, like, Hellway and such. There's a book, so that's 2 more checks.
Wrong world! Well...
Okay, there's a Desert Big Key. That is 2 checks and 1 of our remaining crystals. You also feel really good about that Desert Big Key right there, because no matter where Pod Big Key is, you know your whole swamp play was just justified.
In about 2 hours and 48 minutes, that's the green pendant for T-Dubs.
And it is a true statement that every pendant dungeon had a required item in it. The Fire Rod was in Pendant Hera, the Desert Big was in Pendant Swamp, the Mire Big and the Ice Rod were in Pendant Ice. So, yeah, this is an all-dungeon seed.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to congratulate you on your prescience, by the way. Our flippers were Fire Rod locked. Which is locking our bombos. But,
you know, there's a statement from chat that Ped's looking scary right now. I don't think TWW's scared at all of Pedestal, given that he just has the pendants.
No.
It's just like, you know, let me just clear desert first, because if this happens to be the Pod Big Key, obviously this is the most optimal way to finish the seed.
Yeah. I could totally see TWW, like, once this is all done, like, the only other thing is, like, how do you check Desert Palace right now?
Yeah, you check Desert, you talk to Sahas, you pull the pedestal, just whatever the overworld route makes convenient, right?
Yeah. So...
And yeah, TWW scum Desert right, so he knows full well the most valuable thing over there is a Mire Small Key.
Yeah.
And he will not be worrying about not picking up that key in the pot.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I forgot that I missed that he didn't grab the last pot key. Yeah, both runners, I believe, have scum that now at this point.
Pool Float struggling a little bit with this bomb jump to the Skullwood's big chest, so this will be a new check for us, I believe.
Yeah. Oh. Well.
That is definitely an item that exists in this seed.
An item that probably will help him a little bit. But yeah, okay, so we're gonna go for entrance and pedestal first. Here's Spiral Cave.
I'd take credit for calling that one, but honestly, my odds were pretty strong at this point.
I mean, we were literally down to like GT entrance. So yeah.
I mean, a compass is like a big key, except without the part where it helps you.
Full Flood is gonna go bite the bullet and go do Ice Palace, which for him is absolutely 100% needed, so he won't feel too bad about this. But at this point, he's still got a most of a Swamp Palace that he has to do. Obviously, we don't know how much more of it's 100% required, but some of it is.
This is a fairly smart general route that TWW's taking on his way to Ped. It's like, I haven't done Skull Big Chest.
Yeah.
I'll be able to check the Vanilla Skull Woods entrance after Ped if I want to. You know, see if it's Spiral Cave, and we know it is.
I guess okay. That's an interesting option. I guess he forgot that Saha's in the Dark World.
I mean, even regardless of where Sahas is, you're in the Lost Woods with all 3 pendants in your bag, and a book so you can read it if you don't want to watch the animation. Like, Ped literally doesn't become a better check than that.
Yeah. I guess maybe he wants to do Bombo's tablet too? Okay, well... That wasn't exactly bow luck, but considering that the other bow is sitting right next to the flippers to get that, I don't think you're going to care too much.
And he's not going to the Bombos monolith.
You got me. This is Desert Palace, but...
I feel like TWW hasn't been doing a great job in this endgame charting out the fastest connection between his handful of remaining checks. Like, leaving Ped behind, leaving the Bombos monolith behind, it doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
And at this point, whatever's not in key logic is not even really worth worrying about, because there's no particular reason Pod Big Key can't be the very end of the logic anyway, and if you skip some random small key, so be it, right?
Yeah. Well, I believe at this point we have in fact found every other key in this game. Somewhere a fourth TR... No. No, we're still missing that one TR small. Okay. We're missing 2 keys at this point. Shoutouts to our trackers for clicking almost every single box on the tracker tonight, Lady Laura, Linda, and Bit. And for our runners, Bull Float and TWW2 year T-dubs.
Well, now he has every pod small, so that's a thing. Can go back to pod and get that sewers key. Maybe get pulled into a climb. While we've been watching TWW take some interesting routing decisions, Pool Float has cleared Pendant Ice, which was important, has located Mire, will almost assuredly just be clearing Mire and Turtle Rock as his next two plays. Not going to get a ton out of that. Well, he'll get the Swamp Small Key, which we know is a required step here.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Let's see what's on pedestal and why is it a 20 rupee?
Oh, the fourth bottle. I mean, that's helpful.
Yeah.
I like how far above average that is versus a typical pet item and how it's still effectively nothing.
So where does that put us in terms of items? I think... okay, so this is going to be pod for T-dubs.
I mean, the GT climb is definitely suspicious here.
Yeah. Because right now T-dubs is starting to do that, what a lot of people would say, he's starting to do a lot of pause and hesitation in his routing, which I think is like he's starting to try to figure out what exactly is going on because he doesn't have a lot left, and he probably
I kind of feel like because he's gone back to pod, it's like unless Hellway, which by the way I don't think we've seen, happens to be the big key. I feel like TWW is going to be pushed toward climb very shortly because he's going to get the sewers key from this big key chest. And again, unless Hellway is just the immediate payoff to make him not care, he's going to probably follow up the sewers key, get the GT big key, and then you're like, well, there's 5 items I know I can get right there. Oh, TWW living riskily, jumping off that ledge and then immediately mirroring. Storing some silly glitch states if you get hit at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Immediately resolving the issue by stabbing the berry.
Pool Float has finished off Trinex, got in his Swamp Small, was not happy to see the slime up. Is now going into Mire, so we'll be catching up now on Crystal. Well, it's very... Actually, no. I'm sorry. Desert's still there.
Okay, Hellway was nothing. So... I mean, here's the question we have to ask if we're trying to do a little that classic analysis here. What is Pool Float's win condition? Because Pool Float is linearly behind the rest of Mire, all of Swamp, and beating Landmo.
I believe the correct answer is whatever T-dubs is not doing at this moment.
I'm just trying to outside of TWW forgetting a check exists, does he have time to full clear before Pool Float catches up?
I mean, it's gonna depend. Like, there's a lot of bait locations right now for... Like, there's just a lot of locations left, and we're hunting one item. Spike Cave, which we have repeatedly forgotten exists, by the way, is still out there. But here we go. Never mind. It's just there. And 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 15 seconds, and we're finally at go mode for TWW.
That again, like, TWW has to believe he's about to lose this race, given that he basically walked away from that check after Sahas.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the last about 20 minutes from a routing perspective have gone so badly for him. But in reality, he has just an absolutely decisive lead.
Yeah. He'll be done in about maybe 7-8 minutes at most. We have gold, sword, silvers. We just gotta. The longest pull right now is just beating up Helmasaur.
And I mean, there's layers of protection you have. Like, you have half magic, the cape, and a bottle of green potions. So, like,
Silvers, gold,
if somehow your red mail and 16 hearts weren't protecting you, you have extra safety.
We did end up like missing that one Turtle Rock small key that we needed, so maybe that's what was on the climb after all. Or it's whatever.
Mathematically, it's fairly likely.
Yeah. Realistically, you didn't actually have to get all the pendants today. Everything wasn't actually on any of the bosses, but with how many items you were missing by the time you got... Yeah.
Oh, Swamp Palace getting all ornery.
Well,
I gotta say, I'm less a swamp man and more a mire dweller. That's just where my heart lives. I'm sorry, Swamp Palace.
Well, Pullfloat's gonna go check Hammer Pegs. Not Hammer Pegs, my cave. So, I'll at least have one less mystery on the table for us. As T-Dubs has taken down Helmasaur.
Well, there's our blue boomerang for everyone who's worried about that. Gotta mark all the items on the tracker.
Who doesn't love having both boomerangs on Link to the Past? And Pullfloat is running over. No, sorry, not Pullfloat. T-Dubs has floated to the wrong spot, but is heading over to go kill Ganon. It floated to 2, but 3 will work.
You could also have fluted to 4 and used the swim warp.
I know, but... I used this one more for Lumberjack. For Lost Woods.
You know, it's honestly kind of adorable the way TWW ran out of the way of that circle of fire bats with red mail and 16 hearts.
Look, they still hurt.
I mean, I like to call them red mail strategies. When you have a loadout like this, you avoid them by having your face block against them.
Yeah. But, T-Dubs has gotten through phase 1 and 2, has finished phase 3. Will not be told that the silvers are near an old man. I believe that's the text for Saha.
I think it's with the Elder.
With the Elder.
And near the Elder would be there in his closet.
Yeah. Doesn't get Torch Glitch, but probably wasn't going for it anyway, so you can set up a very nice triple, by the way. And, that's again down. And crossing the bridge with a final race time of 2:17:38. TWW2 wins and has advances to 1-1. So GG's to him.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those seeds that when you step back and start thinking about it, you feel pretty good about getting a 217 because realistically there wasn't much you were ever going to skip in this seed.
Yeah.
The deepest parts of all 3 pendant dungeons were required. A lot of things were really spread out. Some of the entrances that were required weren't exactly the premium ones. So you were always going to be close to a full clear at the end of this seed, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, like, obviously, like, you might have been able to, like, shave off. You could have theoretically shaved the Fargus Cold Stare Wallborn, but considering that you're picking up stuff in the map chest and here, the waterfall chest and swamp, and the Ice Palace big chest, like, you'd be hard pressed to find anybody, like, sitting 2 or 3 items from go mode or more at each one of those stops. Like, you're just gonna.
I mean, if your opponent skips all 3 of those bosses, you start asking questions and send it to the admin team for review.
There's that. We are trying to get TWW in for an interview if possible. So if that happens, we'll let you know. Bullfloat hasn't responded in the race room yet, so it was probably going to try to play it out at least longer.
It's possible I don't know whether Poolfloat's one of those players. Some players just don't even keep the race room open. He very well may not know that TWW's finished.
Yeah.
Poolfloat's shaking his head at that book. Probably will shake it even more when he learns it's required.
Oh, he'll be happy when he sees the Desert Palace Mickey here. Mostly because he has every other big key in the game, so he knows it's one of the 2 he's missing. I see one of our restreamers on ZSR Cemetery is trying to blame our restreamer for something. No, just blame Cemetery.
Sounds like we are joined by TWW. Good games.
Thank you. Hi.
Yeah, GG's.
GG.
So how did you like the way this seed really wanted to make sure you got to explore every corner of those scenic pendant dungeons?
Yeah, it did do that, didn't it? I'm just glad that Swamp actually had something after, after diving in there near the end.
Yeah, at the point you went in, it felt remarkably unlikely that it was going to be barren with, 2 items from Go mode. It turned out to effectively have both of the things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that where the book was? I actually couldn't remember where the book was.
Yeah,
the book was in the back of Swamp 2, just a little earlier than the Desert Big.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Bullfoot just finished Swamp right now, so he's not too far off. He's heading over to fight Landalas, and it will probably route himself somewhere over to get the Pablo's tablet at a point.
Yeah.
He really doesn't have a ton left.
I ran past the Bombos tablet like what 2 or 3 times with the book, I think.
Once.
Yeah, once, but it was pretty. You had a sequence where you went to the Skullwoods big chest, didn't check the back of Skull entrance, which was Spiral Cave, by the way, for a lovely piece of heart. Didn't mirror the pedestal then went to Sahas, who was at the Swamp Palace entrance to get his item, and then immediately left again. And all that in a short order, it's like, this isn't quite the most optimal way to route the remaining handful of checks.
So the funny thing is, when that happened, I had accidentally clicked off my Turtle Rock entrances when I finished, like after I'd finished Turtle Rock, and I realized that I hadn't done the big chest yet, and I didn't remember where that was. So I was actually like just kind of whack-a-moling green squares on my tracker while I looked at my own VOD to try to figure out where the Turtle Rock right side entrance was.
Yeah, that would explain the scatterbrained routing, because your mind was on, oh no, where is Turtle Rock right?
Yep. And it didn't end up really mattering because it was nothing in there, but I was very panicked that it might have been something important.
Yeah, I mean, when you're down to this few checks. Oh, by the way, you know that sewer small key that you got?
Yes.
So I want you to know that the back of Escape has the GT big key in it.
Ah, yeah, at this point it's not surprising. I really thought about not using the key on the Zelda, that was like really, really early in the seed. I was like maybe like 10 minutes in. And then the entire seed, I'm just thinking like, oh man, that small key, we still haven't found it.
Yeah,
I was just hoping that we'd get that big key, but yeah, if it was in there, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because Pool Float just routed Pod a bit differently. He had 3 keys instead of 2 when he found it for the first time, so he checked the vanilla big chest, got the Ganon's Tower big key. I think we're kind of calling at the time that if the GT big chest was value, that would have catapulted him ahead. He chose not to climb, so as the options were getting low, we were just kind of wondering, is the Pod big key just in the climb? It would kind of make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think at this point there is probably something up there, and it was just the last Turtle Rock small key. So you get the Swamp Small off of Trinex. Because I think that's the only other thing that could have been up there. And I don't think there's any other place in the game that it could have been.
Yeah, because Pool Float did check Spike Cave, which was the only other place we really had our eye out on.
Yeah, and Pool Float opted to immediately check Bombos after turning in the green pendant, so he's in go mode. So he'll be finishing up in a few minutes as well. But yeah, no, this was how did you feel like going into Kakariko and immediately getting the Moon Pearl in the mirror?
It was nice. I mirror bonked so many times in the seed doing like simultaneous Dark World and Light World checks. I don't think I've ever actually been able to combine that way before in Crosskeys. Yeah,
I think there was a point where like you came out of the Dark Chapel, and obviously Dark Sanctuary, and like you never checked any of the mirror spots for a while, and we were like, or you could have checked King's Tomb, you could have checked Bonk Rocks, you could have checked Graveyard Legend, you didn't. You even skipped like the Dark Lumberjack, which is actually a point of contention for us because Full Float had done a little bit of bunny walking, so we knew it was an item cave up there. And then when he got around to checking it, like that was a Castle Tower small key.
Mm.
So when he found Castle Tower the first time, he had a key, and so he went up and checked the second chest.
Which, now that we mention it, I don't believe you ever checked that chest.
Did not get back to that, no.
Imagine a world where that had been the Pod big key.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Pool Float also, like, because he had pulled that GT big key out of there, opted to go do GT before climbing back up the mountain to do Thieves Town, so he was able to get the Thieves Town big chest because he had the small, did actually logically go like from the big chest entrance over to the dark shopping mall entrance a little bit more in logic than your let's just beat Trinex and see where the main entrance to Turtle Rock gets me out, which was a good call. Because that was not a good corner of the world for you to get back to at that time. Especially considering that the flippers were also there.
Yeah.
I actually was calling it out at multiple points. It was remarkable how long the seed went before either of you found a single Turtle Rock entrance.
I noticed that too. It was really... But the beginning of the seed, like I feel like I was just following connector to connector, and it was just throwing me to random corners of the world, and just kind of following where it was taking me. But I feel like Laser Bridge always sneaks up really early in Crosskeys, and it just wasn't there this seed.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting general situation because I feel like the connectors were fairly good. The save and quits were pretty close to worst case scenario, but you had really good items. I mean, you had a pearl, a mirror, a sword, and boots very early.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Pool Flood has dropped into Ganon now and is into Phase 2.
Yeah, he's in total red mail mode, has nothing to fear, or in his case, Donatello mode. It does make sense Donatello's the red mail turtle because he's kind of the best turtle.
Well, at least in the fighting games. Or the arcade games. He's better than Raph, at least.
I appreciate Raph's long history of either being the best or the worst and never anything in between.
Unfortunately, having a little less luck with Ganon is going to end up with 4 single shots. That was a very nice triple, by the way. For your first little bit of Ganon.
Yeah, that may have actually only been, I think, the first or second time I've gotten a triple in an actual race.
Nice. GG's. And with a race time of 2:30.24, Full Flood has finished in second. So we also try to get him in here in a second.
And we are joined by Pool Float. GG's Pool Float.
Thank you very much.
Yep,
GG.
So yeah, that was a lovely, virtually
Wrong
forceful
mic.
your seed.
Oh. Sorry about that. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Let's see.
We can hear you. Can you hear us? I guess is the better question.
I'll take that as a no.
Oh boy.
Let's try this again. GG's Pool Float. Can you hear us this time?
Yes. GG. Sorry, my for some reason it launched Discord in my browser and not the app that was already open, which wasn't detecting my setup correctly.
What, you're saying Discord behaved in a strange and buggy way? I can't imagine.
I know, it's impossible to believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a lovely, virtually forced full clear required seed. How'd you feel about it?
Honestly, given the way it ended, like how it wrapped up so quickly once I finally acknowledged I needed to visit Swamp, and Ice as well. I'm honestly surprised I did not lose by more, because it felt really good in the beginning, especially with those gloves, and then it was just a whole bunch of nothing.
It was kind of like the beginning's actually, to me, what the most decisive part of the race is, because your early game route felt like it was really designed around trying to stay very far away from Kakariko. That just happened this seed to have a free Mirror and Pearl. And I feel like that actually kind of put you on the back foot. And then when the seed turned into a full clear, everything else kind of washed out, you know?
Yeah, I think the biggest issue with that was I know I had a few I don't want to say routing errors, but like I was thinking too many steps ahead and then taking a wrong turn, because like I meant to get to Kakariko a lot quicker than I did. And then I just, I'd find something. I was like, I should probably investigate this. Like, I love that sword at potentially 30 seconds, depending if you did a Sank start.
Yeah, you both had it about 2 minutes into the seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the realistic, like early sphere checks, you were very quickly in the seed going to get sword, boots, mirror, pearl, which is a heck of a starting suite.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it was basically one of those, you got a really powerful set of early game items. Then the seed effectively evolved into you basically have to full clear, because the deep parts of all 3 pendant dungeons had critical late game items. And just the entrances to a lot of the dungeons weren't necessarily friendly. A sort of big storyline for much of the seed was TWW, just due to the nature of his earlier route, found Meyer pretty early in the game, whereas it was one of the last things you located.
Yeah, and I knew, I found, Dancing Lady when I went through CAC, and I'm like, all right, I want to come back here. But then I found the Pearl, and I'm like, okay, now let me keep checking. And then I found Eastern, and I'm like, all right, let me keep going, because I do have a horrible tendency of over clearing in Crosskeys, and that's the reason I joined this tournament, is to most likely lose my matches, but at least be able to watch back how a better opponent plays the same seed.
Yeah.
That is definitely sort of a big thing that this tournament offers. Not to say anyone who's better or worse than anyone else, but just having those consistent one-on-one matches, you do get to sort of, get a lot of assessment. It's a real potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there wasn't, like, you had a lot of, like, little places where, like, it wasn't like you were really ever, you were behind for a while, but, like, I don't know, some things, like, definitely could have helped you out, but they just kind of, like, didn't pay out. There were definitely, like, checks you got around to that TW was able to just skip outright.
If the Thieves' big chest or the second chest in Castle Tower had been critical items, it's basically a guarantee you would have won the race.
I was actually hoping that would have been the case for Spike Cave, because I found it early, and then just with how deep both Burna and Cape were, I'm like, please be something, please pay off. And as usual, it didn't, because I wanted it to.
Yeah.
I mean, Spike Cave was such a late check for both of you. I don't know that one would have been a huge difference maker anyway, but I mean, it had a lovely piece of heart.
Yeah.
Look, and GT Big Tesla is just Sanctuary Heart, perfect for the health refill that you didn't need because you were leaving right after that.
We
That-
did
that
think at the
actually-
time you might have been considering climbing. Were you tempted to do that?
I was, but I kept telling myself I'm not doing it. I just, I figured I spent enough time full clearing the basement, which admittedly, of course, I didn't realize that Thieves Town Small was going to be meaningless, but that was another hope. Like, ooh, this is pretty deep, so maybe. But then I said to myself, I don't have, when I first visited, I did it strictly out of logic, just to scout. And then when I went back, I'm thinking I'm going to head back to GT, but it's still out of logic because I don't have the flippers and I don't have the big key. Then I found the flippers, then I found the big key, and I'm like, you know what? I'm still not climbing. It's like, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I think at this point, the only thing up there that would have been of anything of value would have the very last Turok Small Key, which is kind of gross, all things considered.
Yeah, I was actually I was glad when I found I think what was technically the first Turtle Rock Small, because I know if you're playing just keys, it's very risky checking lava chest, but I take that risk a lot more often in Crosskeys because it's less likely to burn you since there's so many other ways you can get into TR, that it's less likely to be important if it's a wasted key. So that's another thing. I'm like, all right, this could maybe be something, and no, it's just $20.
Yeah, the meta pretty much is just check lava chest and don't worry about it in Crosskeys.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll once in a blue moon encounter the seeds where you get punished for it, but it's not common.
No, actually, the weird thing is I just realized something. We never actually saw the floating island character today.
We never went out into the floating island. We never went through Bumper Cave, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that must have been where it was. Bumper's the only, or no, the Dark Cave, the Dark Mountain Cave.
Yeah,
I never found either side of that.
Did we see either end of that? Is it GT to the floating island?
It must be GT to the floating island.
Yeah, looking at my map tracker, that's what it has to be, because I never found the bat connector, and that's literally all that I haven't checked off here is Ether Tablet, GT, and Floating Island. I've seen everything else.
Well, apparently, that what was it, $50 or something was super important to gain in today. You had to get 7 crystals to seal it up.
But yeah, I think that's about all we have. You are, of course, it's only week 2, so you are both still alive here. Of course, Pool Flow has a bit of a longer road at 0-2, TWW at 1-1, but there's still a lot of Crosskeys to play.
Looking forward to it.
GG again.
Yes, GG's to you as well.
I guess that's me then, huh? Well, Pool and TWW, thank you both for a great race. Ampharos and Toffile. Toffiel. I'll get it eventually. Thank you both for coming. Thank you to Laura Linda and to LateBit for tracking for us. And thank you to all the viewers who came out to watch. Can't do this without people watching, so thank you as well. There's nothing else going on tonight. There's, I don't know, some more Link to the Past Randomizer stuff tomorrow. I think there's an NMG race, and I think we're going to try to do the 10:30 p.m. Crosskeys tomorrow night. We'll see how that goes, though. Yeah. I'm going to throw us over to Jay. No, excuse me. I was going to do Jay Cobra. I'm going to do Elzun, who's doing a Crosskeys ladder race. So, more Crosskeys, and I hope everyone has a good night.